Red leather, yellow leather. We're gearing up for a big segment. Red leather, yellow leather.
Well, it is the top job barely anyone wants to do, and I'm talking about being a school principal because there's a new survey that's revealed fewer teachers than ever before are putting up their hands to be the man or woman in the top job.
Yeah, the role's increasingly becoming associated with stress, red tape and reaching benchmarks rather than doing what you set out to do, and that is educating kids. Our Sunday jury is here to weigh in on the debate. They've all been doing their red leather, yellow leather as well. So we say speak clearly with Shell Shock Media's Shelley Horton.
Red leather, yellow leather, red leather, yellow leather, red leather, yellow leather.
WSM, FM, otherwise known as Jonesy.
That's me.
Jonesy.
Yeah.
Good morning to you both.
Morning.
Now, I mean, nobody's to blame, I guess, in terms of the job getting harder, but does it mean that...
Yeah, there's plenty of people to blame.
OK, well,
for
fire
getting
away,
harder.
Shelley.
Okay, so,
who do we blame?
First of all, I blame parents because they're expecting school principals and teachers to do a lot of the parenting that I think parents should be doing at home. I think that there's so much pressure on schools to perform. My dad was a school principal when he worked at a special ed, but they had to hit a lot of benchmarks, and it becomes that you are taken out of the classroom, you are becoming a business owner rather than being an educator. And I think that we need to maybe look at perhaps a school principal is a business role and hire people with a business degree and keep the teachers teaching.
But that's the whole point of this, that, yeah, you need to have people for those specific roles.
Yeah.
And you say that we're sort of, you know, taking away, it's a small business model, but then you've got on top of that all the rules and the regulations in which you don't have control over what you want to do in your school.
Well, principals now, they have to take stock of how many fire extinguishers they've got and how many pies they sell in the canteen. I say integration. Get the kids to get in. You know, Johnny, how many fire extinguishers do we have around the
Make
school?
it part of the counting lesson.
Yeah.
We'll go around and count them. 5.
Exactly. I went to a school in the 70s and the principal used to drive around in a Porsche. Like, he was like skimming off the top.
If he wasn't
Are you
right in
sure
the
that it
system.
wasn't just a red V-dub and you just thought as a kid that it looked like a Porsche?
No, it was a Porsche, and he'd walk around like Don Lane. You know, hey kid, you know, clean my car. That's a sort of principal I'd
If
be.
the principal had a Porsche at my school, it would have been badged in an instant. Just thank
My
you.
dad was teaching at a school in country Queensland and they had their own shotgun for snakes on the school property.
Right.
So it's a bit different to having a Porsche.
Right next to the banjo.
Shotty.
No,
But
that's
that's the thing.
stress for
I
a
mean, you
principal.
could argue that, you know, you're a principal of the school, your role is varied, you're not in the classroom, so why shouldn't they be responsible for doing extra things? I mean, what's wrong with them getting out with a ladder and fixing things if it needs to be done? No. But not in the classroom.
Oh, no, Deb, I completely disagree.
What's wrong with me playing devil's advocate?
I'm going to get my dad on the phone. We're
I'm
gonna
bringing
take
in the
this
big
on.
guns now. We better move on because this is an Aussie tradition, of course, the great barbecue, but shrinking backyards, soaring meat prices, it's all contributing now to actually being, well, the end of the big barbecue. No. We've got research out showing that cosier little dinner parties are replacing those bigger gatherings and more people are moving into flats or trying to trim down on their food bills. So as such, they're changing the way they entertain. Shelley, what do you do at your place?
So we were in a small apartment where we didn't even have a dining room table. And so when we moved, I insisted that we got a dining room table so that we could entertain and have dinner parties.
Have you got a Barbie?
We do have a Barbie. And guess how many dinner parties and barbecues we've had?
0?
0 in 2 years. 0.
Well, I'm a bit like you in that we had lofty aims of entertaining, but the reality of life and busyness and blah, you know. But
It's easier to go to a
it's
restaurant and
cycling.
split the bill because it's actually expensive to entertain.
and hard work if you're the entertainer.
Deliveroo is probably starting
Yeah, Deliveroo's
Kill off
but
barbecues.
it's, you know, it swings and roundabouts.
Yeah.
So look, the Barbie's gone, dinner party's back in. You know, the swingers party's going to be back.
We're not in the 70s now.
No,
anymore,
it's going to
Toto.
come back.
You wish, Jonesy, you wish.
Where's my keys?
But you would love a barbecue. You'd be out
No,
there.
I'm over the backyard barbie.
Are you?
You know, when I go to a backyard party, I just walk in and go, ugh. I just hate them. Because you're standing on this patch of grass and you're eating dip and you go, ugh, how long could it be till I
A
get
lot of
out
your
of
friends would be watching this.
don't invite me. I don't want to go anymore. I don't want to go anymore.
Is that why you
That's
put the
it.
surfboard on the roof when you
Cancel
go?
the
so you can
invites.
just quickly
Jonesy's
sneak
out.
out and go for a
Sneak
surf?
out. I just, you know, it's just, you know, it's the stuff you do
So
when
what
you're in
is
your
your
20s.
choice? Do you prefer go out to a restaurant
Yeah,
or
you go out for a meal.
go out?
Or,
Don't do it at home.
Or go to the pub.
Don't eat up
just
a
by
plastic
myself.
cake.
On your own, with a quiet beer.
Learning a lot about you. Swingers parties, pub meals on your own.
I have a swingers party with myself.
Don't
All
like
right,
it. Okay.
stick around, more to discuss. We'll take a look at what your accent says about you from the Swede.
Now, do you sound like Jeffrey Rush or more like Kath and Kim? a language expert, has explained there are 3 different types of accents, all of them better than mine. Broad, general and cultivated.
They won't tell you much about where you're from, though. It's more about social class, and we'll talk about this now with our Sunday jury with Shelly and Jonesy. What do you reckon, Shelly? Do you have a particular type of accent?
I'm a Queenslander, and I reckon that I still keep Queenslander, but I think it's more with terminology. So I say togs, not swimmers.
Right.
And potato scallops, not potato cakes. You know, things like that I think you can pick up.
It's
but
potato
I do
cakes.
find my mum... It's potato scallops.
Yeah, it's so not potato.
So my mum, when she's trying to impress, puts on a little bit of the Jeffrey Rush.
Does she?
And it's just like, I listen to her going, you're not posh.
Yeah.
Like, you're totally doing
Queenslander.
that on. You're
Yeah.
Queenslander. Yeah.
It's like my wife, when she gets on the phone, she sounds like Clancy from Skippy. Mr. Hammond, Mr. Hammond. Sounds very nice. But in Queensland, I think Queensland and New South Wales, we're similar sounding. But once you get south of the border down Mexico way in Melbourne, they'll say Melbourne.
See, I disagree.
No, there are definite
I'm from
Melbourne
Melbourne,
accents.
and we say Melbourne. Everyone always says you say Melbourne. Like, no,
Is it-
What about Castlemaine?
Castlemaine, yes.
Castle?
There's different.
Castle,
That's
mate.
how it's
Newcastle.
Castlemaine.
And then you get to Adelaide, to South Australia.
They sound
and they
English.
have a different accent
Well, they say
altogether.
plant and chance.
They dance.
They
They
dance.
dance.
They say
and-
Lego instead of Lego.
Yep.
Lego.
Well, some
they
people
call
in
it-
Adelaide do anyway.
And they call their power poles Stobie poles.
Stobie poles, yeah.
And they call
And the-
Fritz, what's it called?
Fritz, which we call Straz in Victoria.
Which we call Devon.
Devon.
Man, we could just go on and on and
Let's-
on. and on.
let's
The
just-
United States of Australia.
Let's just secede.
Yeah.
Let's have our own little...
Hey guys, thanks, beauty.
Thank you
Good
for
on
coming in.
So much fun.
Great stuff. Stay with us more right after this break.
Yes, Straz.